Hi, today I'm going to walk you through an example of the rhetorical analysis essay to show you some of the writing moves that could be useful or will be integrated in your Project 1. And I'm also going to give you some directions for conducting peer response later on in the week. As I prepared to make this video, I went through the student sample text that's in this week's materials and went ahead and used the Microsoft Comments feature in Word to leave some notes. This is actually a tool that I'm going to ask you to consider using for peer response, so when we look at those directions in a few minutes, you can keep that in mind. When I want to make comments on something, I highlight the text that I want to make comments on. I go to Review and add a new comment, so I can also do that up here, Insert New Comment. And I write the comment that I want to make. So here I would point out that the author introduces spell it the right way, introduces the title, author, and purpose of the text being analyzed. Okay, some features that I'm going to see on the first page of your rhetorical analysis essay. One is the MLA heading. That should have your name up here, your instructor's name, the class that you're in, and the date that you're submitting the document. And then right beneath that, the title of your essay. There's a section in the rhetorical analysis assignment description that talks about the titles, that shows that you should indicate not just the topic of your paper, but sometimes the purpose of it as well. This student's title is pretty basic. I mean, it is an analysis of this article, but you'll see some other ideas for what you can do with the title in the assignment description. One of the things that happens next in the piece is that in the introduction, the student gives some context for the article that is being analyzed. This student decides to do that by focusing on a term that's key in Lukianoff and Haight's article, vindictive protectiveness, because it comes up a lot in the rest of her analysis. As the author's center on that term, it was an important move for her to make. She moves then into summarizing the text and then mapping the rest of her essay. And I want to note that in the assignment description, there are two sections at the beginning. One is on the introduction, and then one is about summary and rhetorical situation. And I would actually say that all of those subpoints could feasibly fit and kind of be moved around as parts of the introduction. So you might think about that. In this thesis statement, then the author presents both the argument that Lukianoff and Haight are making, the type and what it is, the arguments about the harmful effects of vindictive protectiveness. They use causal and rebuttal arguments. And then she also includes a statement about the strategies that they're using. So here we see that they use specific wording to show credibility, evoke emotions through examples such as being frightened, surprised, and offended, and provide statistics from a credible organization. So notice that she's not just saying they use logos, pathos, and ethos. That would be like a super basic version of a thesis. That would be like the way obvious move to do. You can use that as a starting point, but you should actually say specifically what the kind of appeal is here. So not just that they're using ethos, but that they're using specific kinds of wording in their argument. The student opens the body paragraphs of her essay with a topic sentence, and you should be able to identify when you look at a draft a topic sentence in each paragraph showing the main idea of that paragraph. Now, it doesn't always have to come at the very beginning. Sometimes a topic sentence is at the end of a paragraph and the writer has built toward that. Occasionally, a topic sentence could be in the middle of a paragraph, but it's likely for this essay that you'll find yours at the beginning or the end of the paragraph. And every other idea in this paragraph should point back to that main idea or topic sentence. There's another example. A couple of other things to consider when you're using quotes and examples or paraphrasing information from the text. You should always clearly introduce quotations. with the writer. So here she says, for example, Lukyanov and Haight write, comma, quotation mark, the rise of vindictive protectiveness may be related to recent changes in the interpretation of federal government statutes, blah, 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 blah. Even if you're paraphrasing, you want to make sure that you indicate that the authors are the ones doing the writing. And you could use another verb besides write, but remember that it's not the article saying something, but the authors are the ones speaking through the article. You'll also see as you look through this essay that this student appropriately cites the two texts that she references in here. One of those texts is, of course, the text she's analyzing, the article by Lukyanov and Haight, and the other is a section from the Wainwriter. A couple of notes about what to do in the end of the essay. The first move that you might make in the conclusion is to summarize what's been presented in the analysis. So in this student's concluding paragraph, the first couple of sentences are just a summary. And then we see her evaluative claim pop up. These appeals created an effective argument. However, the authors failed to use enough factual evidence to confirm the effect on mental health. So ultimately, she's saying that without this factual evidence to confirm the effect on mental health, they're not as successful as they could be. And here is where the kind of so what factor will come into your essay. And you might preview this in your introduction as well. What are the stakes of this analysis? Why does this analysis matter? Well, what this student wants to point out ultimately is that the audience might not be persuaded to take action against the movement because they might not see this movement of vindictive protectiveness as actually concretely tied to increasing rates of mental health issues. So without those stakes being evident, like this article might not create any change. At the end, she includes a works cited page. It's likely that you might just have one source that you're citing, but if you're referencing any other texts in the body of your essay, make sure that you include those as well. The other thing I want to show you is in the week 4 activities. So I'm in weekly activities, project 1, week 4. Peer response will happen at the end of this week. And so this actually requires you to have a Friday deadline of submitting your draft of project 1 and then using some time over the weekend to give feedback to the peers in your group. So I have directions here for that. A couple of options for how to leave comments for your peers. One would be by using the Microsoft Comments tool that I showed you earlier, or to write them a response memo using the reply or comments feature in the discussion board. So you're going to upload your paper draft as a post within the thread that I've assigned you to, and then your classmates will respond to your post. So let's just take a look at that real quickly and how to do it. Here are the directions for what you're going to comment on. I'm going to go follow this link. And I've only got one group up here right now, but it'll serve as the example. So you're going to look, you'll see a list of threads here, and then you'll see your first name and last initial in one of those groups. This week I'm organizing alphabetically. So I'm going to click into this thread if it's my group. And I can see the directions for peer response. When I'm ready to upload my paper, I'm going to hit reply. And I'm going to attach the file for my paper here. Then hit submit, and my classmates can download my paper to leave me comments in the text, or they can reply to my post with their feedback and comments on the paper. I will also give you comments on your papers over next weekend and into the beginning of next week, reading the discussion board posts that you and your peers leave for each other, and then adding my own thoughts on the feedback. I generally will not comment on the same items that I'm asking you to comment on each other's papers, so I ask that you take some time to thoughtfully read and give feedback to each other's papers. Thinking about the length of these essays, it'll probably take you about 20 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes to respond to your peers for each paper. So, you're going to want to spend or save that time next weekend for that. And then you'll look for my feedback as well. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great week. Can't believe it's week 4 already. We're kind of just flying along. I hope to talk to you soon.